Okay, folks, we're going to have a little pre-game talk. Give folks a few minutes to get in. I will go back in YouTube and edit these first 5 minutes out, assuming I can do that. I think I can. But if you're joining live, just come on in. This is time to ask questions. Please ask questions whenever you. Yeah, let's put the comments up there. If you guys have questions, throw your questions in. A little pregame talk, a little pregame chat, pre video daily update, lunch with Larry talk. So I'll get folks a few minutes to get into the room, and we will get started. Today we're going to talk about Game 3 in the World Series tonight. Probably, I would say, the most critical game in this World Series. I guess I would probably say that with every game, but that I wanted to look at this. If I can get it real quick, I'll mention it. But record of World Series Game 3 winners. All-time records. How many times have team won the World Series? No, not after down 3 games. Never mind. That's not what I wanted. Here we go. In the best of seven series is tied at 1-1. The Game 3 winner won the World Series 69% of the time. All right, we'll throw that little knowledge in along the way. Let's see if I can get that. I'm not sure where that's coming from. That's what I don't like about Google. They give me the answer, but I'm not sure where this comes from. I guess I'll just say per Google. Folks, anywhere else, anybody else in the chat, in the room, come on in. Let's get the party started in 2 minutes. 2 minutes countdown. But let's see, put this little factoid in right here. All right. Anybody in the chat room on Twitter with me? Let me check Twitter. If you're coming to the site, call up the daily game preview, and we follow along with me on that article. Let's see. 1 minute. 1 minute to start. Anybody come on into the show, Lunch with Larry. We'll look for any questions, comments in the chat. At high noon, we will get kicked off. Lunch with Larry. Guys, this is what I've done for this article, these daily game previews, is taking the nuggets that are most important to tonight's game and really put it, simplified what's in the guide, put it into the debut. So I know the overall matchup guy can be a little overwhelming. Oh, well, let's just admit what it is, overwhelming. So, all right, here it is. I got 12 noon on my calendar, on my clock. So let's go. Jump on with lunch with Larry, 12 p.m. every day, every game day. What do we expect to happen in game three tonight? We're going to cover game three possibilities. We're actually going to talk a little bit about game four, how important it is for game three, and when it may affect the rest of the series. So, uh, important little fact that, of course, the roster hasn't changed. Nobody's gotten hurt. Nobody's been moved out. Nobody's moved in. Setting the stage for game three. I did want to have this little nugget. I got this in the pregame 5 minutes. So, per Google search, in the best of seven and best of seven post series that is tied 1-1, the game three winner has won the series 68 of 98 times. That's what Google says. I don't even know where Google's getting that information, but 69% of the time, the winner of the game in the situation that we have tonight wins the series. So let's talk about, this is why this game is so important. Now let's talk about the weather. The weather is not all that great in the Philadelphia area tonight. You can see the current radar. I can I can put this on the hourly forecast for Citizens Bank Ballpark tonight. At as you see the game, as we approach game time, so 8 o'clock, 8:03 will be actual game time. Only a 34% chance of rain. Let's hope that's true. It does get a little dicey at about 10 p.m. our time, 11 p.m. So, maybe we get Lance McCullers mowing down the Philadelphia Phillies, and it's a quick game. Let's hope for that. But the later it goes, this chance of rain. Now, full disclosure, if you actually uh, click on midnight, it's the same, about the same percentage. You'll notice that in here, they're not talking about a lot of rain. So this should be a fairly misty rain. So just so when you see people talking, oh my gosh, it's rainy, it's cloudy, it's rainy. Yeah, it's rainy with a shower or two. I don't think this thing where we can't get the game in. Reserved for it, but it's the weather, so who knows, right? It could be that radar didn't look too good to the middle and western for the western side of Pennsylvania. So we shall see, guys. We shall see. All right, let's get back into the actual. Oh, guys, I didn't even show you that. I'm sorry. I was on the other. Let me just show you that real quick. I'm looking at it on my other window and then didn't show you guys. Here's the radar. There's the radar. All right, there's the hourly forecast. If you can see, there's chances of rain. Gets to 51, 6 p.m., 8 p.m., 34%, 11 p.m., 10 p.m. our time, 63%. So what will that mean? We shall see. All right, so let's get started. Plan starters for the series tonight. We've got McCullers versus Syndergaard. You can see the advantage that the expected WOBA table says. You can see the advantage ERA shows. You can see the advantage FIP shows. The Astros. The reality is that the Astros have an advantage tonight in the pitching. So for folks that thought I was a little bit negative related to game two, you're going to get a very different tone from Larry to Jim today. All right. The Astros should win this game. In fact, if the Astros, my official prediction for this game, I'm going to get it right out on the front. It's 7-3. Astros win 7-3. And that is mainly because I think McCullers holds down the Phillies and the bullpen comes in and backs that up and keeps them down to an below average run scored 3. And with Syndergaard's 329 expected WOBA versus the Astros lineup, that they're going to get to him. And they're going to get to him pretty well, and they're going to score an above average run total, 7. And I actually think the managers they may be up nothing, 4-1, 5-1, I don't think Thompson at that point is going to burn the best part of his bullpen when we got 3 games in a row, and the Astros are going to get to some of the other parts of the bullpen. We talked about an article about can the Astros get to the bullpen. Go check that out on the website, and you will see my answer. Can the Astros get to the bullpen? Short answer is yes. So let's talk about this lineup. And now I'm going to take you down a path. If what I believe happens tonight in Game 3 turns out to be true, and the Astros win Game 3, what will happen in this series, Game 4? Here's what the matchup, what Philadelphia said they're pitching Suarez in Game 4. Obviously, the Astros will come back with Javier unless for some reason they use Javier, and then if they did, they probably would come back with Garcia for Game 4. They haven't officially announced the starter, and that's a Game 4 starter. That's what I believe they haven't, because they will use Javier if for some reason McCullers goes down very early. But look at these numbers against Ranger Suarez in a Game 4 scenario. You've got Altuve, Pena, McCormick, Maldonado. Now, I actually think in Game 4 we're going to get Christian Vasquez catching Javier. Look at these numbers. Now, also notice that the middle part of that lineup is a little bit better. So why are all these other players that I list here so hot versus Suarez? Well, number one, Suarez is left-handed, and all those batters that we are showing in bright red are right-handed. There's a significant difference between Suarez versus lefties, Suarez versus righties. Suarez throws his sinker a lot, and he throws it very well, greatly against lefties, but he does not throw it that great or average or worse than average to right-handers. So all those right-handed batters that actually the ones that are brightest red on here hit the sinker well. They're going to hit. It would be predicted to hit Suarez well. What does that mean? Why am I even bringing this up? Well, what that means is that Suarez really. I mean, if the Astros win tonight, this is why tonight's so important. If the Astros win tonight, I don't think they can throw Suarez in Game 4. So because they can't afford to have that murderer's row of like the backside of the Astros lineup going against this pitcher. He really doesn't fare as a matchup toward the backside of the lineup. Now, interestingly enough, Suarez does have success against the parts of the lineup that we look to for success night in and night out. He's the Phillies' second best option against Alvarez. He's the Phillies' best option against Tucker. This is why, if you remember, Suarez came in to finish off the 7th inning and start the 8th inning in Game 1. He faced Alvarez, Bregman, and Tucker in Game 1. I think what they're going to use Suarez for, hey Alberto, I think what they're going to use Suarez for is in that role. And in fact, I could see where there's a game situation. Alvarez is coming up against Syndergaard, maybe in the 4th or 5th inning when the game hasn't gotten out of control yet. And Thompson is going to bring in Suarez, and the whole world is going to say, what in the world? He's supposed to start Game 4. And I just want you guys to know that Larry GM is telling you tonight, do not be surprised if that happens, because I don't think Suarez is going to pitch Game 4, despite the fact that's what the Phillies have said. So I believe that they're going to use Suarez in Game 3, Game 5, Game 6, and possibly Game 7 against that core part of the Astros lineup. Now, he's not a relief pitcher, but he has come in relief. He came in relief during the NLCS. He came in relief in Game 1. I think he's going to come in relief. It could possibly come in relief in Game 3 tonight. And I think if that's the pattern he was, he's not obviously going to start Game 4. So that, I mean, maybe they could start if he starts Game 4. It may be more of an opener type of concept. Get through the Tucker portion of the lineup and hope that he doesn't fail miserably against Altuve and Pena, and get through Tucker. Even Gurriel's not a great matchup because of some of the pitch dynamics. So you could see him getting through a Gurriel at most part of the lineup. Okay, so what does that mean? So if the Phillies if I'm telling you that they use Suarez tonight, or they just don't, they what I just told you and say we can't really pitch Suarez, I think they pull a bullpen game. Maybe Eflin starts game 4 and pitches once through the lineup, and if effective, he keeps going all the way to the point he reaches Alvarez, and Alvarez is a really bad matchup for him. Well, then essentially in game 4, if they haven't used him tonight, they could bring in they could bring in Suarez. Hang on, Brandon. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. Um, so so if the Phillies win tonight and they're up 2-1, I believe you could see Suarez then being used in a relief and essentially in a relief role against that portion of the lineup, but not starting. And then they go to Bellotti and Brogdon, get them to the bridge of the best side of the Phillies bullpen. Essentially, game 4 turns into a bullpen game, and they use the good part of their bullpen, but not the best part of their bullpen to get them to the back end. So now here's what I think happens if they lose game 3. Now, one can talk about like the Astros got the Nola. Guys, Astros getting to Nola. Nola is their best pitcher, best matchup in this series. If I'm the Phillies manager, I'm like, okay, they got Nola a little bit in game 1, but I'm if I'm Thompson, I'm riding Nola and Wheeler as much as I possibly can in this series, and because they are by far the best starting pitching matchups versus the Astros. So I believe if the Phillies lose tonight, if the Astros win, the Phillies are going to be in a somewhat chaotic situation where what I showed you with Suarez is not a good matchup for them in game 4. They're down 2-1. They cannot go down 3-1. I think they're going to turn to Nola and say, get us through 5 innings, and then we'll take it from there. Nola only pitched 81 pitches in game 1. We'll show that in a minute. And so he should be sufficiently rested by Tuesday. Now, if the rain, this is why we started with the weather, guys. If the rain comes down really, really hard and washes out the game tonight, and we're playing game 3 tomorrow, then they go Syndergaard, and then they go Nola on normal rest in game 4. That's the Phillies are going to be like, look, can we have a rain out tonight, or even yet, if we don't have rain out tonight, can we have a rain out tomorrow night? Understand the weather may play a role in this series, guys. So, uh, the Nola has a 289 expected WOBA versus his lineup. That's in of the magnitude, we're close to the magnitude of Wheeler. So, you know, that's their best option, guy. I mean, I'm just trying to say, let's understand what the Phillies have as options. And you say, Larry, why are you dwelling on this so much in Game 3? You're talking about Game 4, Game 3, because Game 3 is a critical point in this. If the Astros win Game 3, we put the Phillies in this almost no-win situation. You may say that's crazy. It's only Game 3. Well, I told you up front, the winner of Game 3 wins 69% of the series. And given the fact of what the rest of the starting pitching looks like with Suarez or even any of the other options, Gibson or none of those are good options. So I think they come back with Nola if they lose tonight. And I think they come back with a Vulcan game if they win tonight and try to let Nola and Wheeler win in game 5, game 6 on normal rest. I do not think under this scenario, if they lose because of Wheeler's health situation, this is one thing I've changed a little bit. Um, that that they will not bring Wheeler back on short rest, because I don't think physically that's a very smart thing to do with him. So what we're looking at is Wheeler on regular rest in game 6 versus Valdez. Again, Wheeler has the advantage in that game. So you're right, Brandon. In my opinion, the Astros need to win these non-Nola Wheeler starts. And tonight is the night we need to win. And we win tonight. We put them there. no one else is giving I'm aware of, because Philly managers put out there like, well, we're starting Suarez in Game 4. I don't think they're starting. I, if they win, they do something. It's not a Suarez start, which in other words is a bullpen game and probably Eflin opener. If by the way, Eflin was a starter, a part-time starter for them, so it's not like I'm calling for them to have the opener, get 3 or 4 innings out of Eflin. That doesn't make any sense. If they lose, then I think it's Nola on short rest, and that'll be an interesting way that everybody responds to that. Okay, so all right, so that's why, and that's all in this article. You can read it. You can comment there. Like, Larry, I think you're wrong. Like, okay, well, I mean, I just listen to me and I'll hear me later. I'm just telling you this is what I expect to happen. Okay, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If they walk into the trap of starting Suarez in Game 4, lights out. I mean, if the Astros win tonight and it's Suarez in Game 4, my original prediction of an Astros winning the series in Game 5, I'm feeling pretty good about, because it'll be Nola starting Game 5 in that scenario, but it'll be 3-1 against coming up against Nola against Verlander. Verlander redemption story in Game 5. All right, let's set the let's go back. Okay, that was all great. That was a great story, Larry. We're 21 minutes in. Let's wrap this up. Let's talk about Game 3. The pitching matchup for Game 3. You can see what we're looking at versus Noah Syndergaard, and then here against Noah Syndergaard, we're really looking for Altuve, Alvarez, Bregman, Tucker. Those are the heroes tonight. I mean, I can blow this up and make it clear for you guys. Okay. I'm not sure if that's much bigger than the other way, but it's really the top of the lineup now. Also, and then there's a link here. Follow this link. We can talk about who bats seventh and plays left field. Game 4, it's kind of touchy related to that. Let's go ahead and see what Larry the GM said in this article last night about who plays left field, who plays DH for the rest of the World Series. Why is this article not coming up? Oh, there it is. A little slow on the website tonight. So today, what I said is tonight, Game 3, you have McCullers with the highest ground ball rate. So if you're going to put, I wrote this on a Mac, Pablo. So I'm running it on a Mac. So it's shortcut that'll work. I can press F11. I'm sorry, Paulo. I didn't. I'm not with you on that. I'm already beyond that. We'll go forward. So Game 3, because McCullers is the ground ball pitcher, I can see putting Alvarez out in left field. If they do that, if Alvarez is in left field, I think we get what I think the fan base has been calling for and wanting. Hensley in the lineup. I can see Hensley batting 8th, and maybe you put McCormick batting 7th, and roll with it that way. If the Astros do not put Alvarez in the left field tonight, I don't think he's going in left field the rest of the series. He's basically DHing every one of these games. And then I think they will make the choice, and you guys can read an article why. I think they'll pick the best matchup, which is Mancini versus Syndergaard. So Game 4 is much more interesting, because if it is Suarez, I give you the options related to that. And again, in Game 5 against a Nola start, it's probably Alvarez DHing and Mancini in left field. So, yeah, yeah, guys, it's that's a really good point. If the field is wet, I really don't want to see Alvarez in the outfield. Well, then I think we're seeing Mancini in the lineup. I mean, sorry about the cough, guys. All these different things that we need to be interesting things we will cover on the Watch with Larry tonight as things are happening. But game 3 tonight is if the field is dry enough. That's a good point, Alberto. We could see Alvarez in left field, Hensley DHing. You can say, well, why don't we put Hensley in left field? I covered that in this article, guys. You're not going to put Hensley in his first major league start in the left field in the World Series. He has not. He only started 6 times in minor leagues. So I do not have that in front of me, Paul. I'll get you that. I mean, I have it. It's available on Fangraphs. I think I've talked about it before. I don't. Well, Alvarez. I do remember this. Alvarez was great. I mean, if you look at if you go back to the matchup guide, you look at the left field. You look at the left field WAR number. It's really really high, and then you think, well, okay, Brantley was good, but why are we like 1 or 2 as far as WAR delivered from left field? And it's because when Alvarez is in the field, he bats even better than he does. Has batted, or he did bat in the regular season, way higher, like 180 WRC plus. Don't hold me on that number. I'll have the number for you tonight. Come to the watch party, and I'll have it for you. And as a DH, he's very good. But I think we're talking like 180 to 120, something like that. I don't want to go look it up. I don't want to slow the stream down, but it's something around that effect. Follow somebody can look it up. You just go Alvarez and Fangraphs. You go to splits, and you can see the data in there. So let's talk about McCullers versus this Philly lineup. Again, it's the usual suspects at the top, but you'll notice the guys, these cells. I mean, if you remember, red is good, blue is bad, or blue is not good. I hate to say, any major leaguers are bad, but the model, the matchup model here is predicting that the top 4 that have given us most trouble are going to give McCullers a challenge. But though that degree of red is not it's not terribly. I mean, we can scroll down here. You'll see McCullers. I mean, oh, here it is. Slow down, Larry. Let's just say the top 4 versus Valdez were way worse than they are versus McCullers. Now, obviously JV was predicted to do better than these guys. Javier's predicted to do great against all these guys, but relative to some of the options, even like Montero's a much worse matchup against Schwarber and Harper. So you're talking about that. This is like Lance McCullers has a challenge tonight with the top of the order, but it's not like, oh my gosh, he's going to fail. Like I was really worried about Framber Valdez. Framber Valdez just told Larry to shut up, and that's wonderful. Never been happier with Framber Valdez proving me wrong than I was in game 2. So here we go. That's what it looks like. So Lance McCullers Jr. needs to be very careful what pitches he throws. You're going to see a lot of curveballs to Schwarber, a lot of curveballs and sliders to Harper, and you're not going to see any of the other rest of the pitches to those 2 guys. So that's what the data would say. He said, "Sit down, Larry." That's fine. I'm welcome. He's welcome to do that. He proved me wrong. I don't mind. Guys. I don't mind if my Astros make me look dumb for outperforming. I'm very happy with that. Don't worry about it. So I think if McCullers does well against these top 4, he's going to do really well tonight. We're talking about 6 or 7 innings, and like Lance McCullers. Yeah, I agree with you, Pablo. Lance McCullers is going to feed off this Philadelphia crowd. I don't think they understand. Like, boo the crap out of Lance McCullers, and he's just going to all right, I'm the bulldog, and I'm going to prove you wrong, and I'm going to have you guys. My offense is going to have you guys. We're going to be up 5-1 before you know it, and and you guys are going to sit down and shut up and watch me strike team out over and over. I'm not going to give you much to cheer for. And so that's that's the scenario I want to see. I want to see Lance McCullers exit this game with the Astros up like 4-1, 5-1, and then just turn it over to the good part of the bullpen and yeah, and Javier, you're right, Paul. Javier he's gonna look at him like, "Are you crazy? Do you know who I am?" And so it, I'm telling you guys, I was the game I was most worried about was game 2 in this series. They won that game. The next game I'm most worried about is game 6 in this series. But if game 3 and game 4 go the way I want them to go, we may never see game 6. All right, so let's talk about the bullpen and pitching stats, guys. You know, the only pitcher that by this table that really screams out that here we sit on October 31st that that and you probably can't even tell, but this cell on Montero is not deep green. By Larry the GM's coding system that says, I'm not sure I'd really want to pitch Montero tonight. But let's hope we have a big enough run, big enough lead that it's like a Brayu, Will Smith, and Ryan Stanek time, and we can keep Presley and Montero safe for game 4 and game 5. Um, the the Philly bullpen, they basically, guys. I mean, I don't know if people understood, but they basically bailed a lot of ways on game 2 and went to what I would say is the middle side, or even I won't say bad side, but Brett Hand has almost no chance against this team if you pitch him too much, being a lefty. So I guess what I'll say is Montero. I think he's available. Don't get me wrong, he's available, but I think he may be limited to probably 12, 13 pitches is probably where you want to take the limit on him. The rest of the bullpen's available. All right, so who do I think? So on number 1, I guess I need to put in my score. I didn't really give score predictions for every other game, but I'm boldly telling you tonight's game 7-3. Astros win. Tucker, Alvarez, Bregman, McCullers, and the bullpen. I mean, all of them are going to look good tonight, in my opinion. My model says. And for the Philadelphia Phillies, guys, I guess I'm going to say they're bullpen. Okay, I don't really even know. Hey, Paulo, that's a good point. Let's use Hunter Brown tonight. Let's just like tandem start McCullers to Hunter Brown and just like terrorize these guys for the next. Thinking about like when he can come better um, in the rest of the series. All right, so what are y'all's predictions? I got a few folks in the chat. If you're on Twitter listening, go ahead and just retweet to respond to the article or respond to the live feed there. If I can see it, I'll see it. What are your predictions for the game tonight? What do you got? What do you got, Pablo? What do you got, Alberto? Let's hear your predictions for the game tonight. While we're doing that, I will invite folks, please like this video, uh, subscribe on YouTube, um, follow me on Twitter, join the Larry the GM website. Alberto, heck yes, I really do. Let me show this. There's a part of this lineup that Will Smith is. This is the Houston stats for Will Smith. This column right here, next to the gray one, to the left of the gray one. Will Smith 142 matchup. Will Smith's a 142 matchup versus Brandon Marsh. Will Smith's a 304 versus Kyle Schwarber. That's a. I mean, Ryan Stanek's better versus Kyle Schwarber, but that's it. Will Smith 316 for Reese Hoskins. That's not terrible. Obviously, he's a righty versus that lefty, so he's got an advantage there. JT Realmuto 304. Look at the rest of that. There's some that are better, and then 283 to Bryce Harper. Show me the spot on the Astros pitching roster that's better to Bryce Harper. So, yeah, and Will Smith versus Nick Castellanos. I'd with Will Smith pitching to anybody else in the Philadelphia Philly lineup other than Alex Bohm. That's the only one I don't want to pitch to. He can pitch to anybody else. And so that's just has to do with the pitches he throws, the relative strengths of those batters. So, hey, you know, so you guys are saying 9-3 Astros, 8-6 Astros. Brandon thinks it's going to be a little bit of a slugfest. I hope not, because I really don't want to have to use that much of the Astros bullpen. But there you go. You guys have the links to the ultimate World Series matchup guide. You'll see a lot more of this kind of data in there. Check that out. Like this video. Like the YouTube channel. Like the. Please subscribe to my account on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Follow both the Larry the GM man account and Larry the GM side account. So, guys, I just think this is going to be a really good game tonight. Let's go Astros. Hey, you heard it here first about relative to Game 4. So me too, Albert. Join us tonight on the live stream. Watch with Larry. 6:45. We will be live. I'll have my buddy Clint and my buddy Casey. We'll be breaking down. We'll be looking at tables like this. We'll be looking at the pitching specific tables, and we will be talking about like what pitches Lance McCullers should be pitching against here at Kyle Schwarber. We'll be talking about that before the inning. We'll talk over the commercials. We will mute ourselves and listen to the game with you guys. We'll come back up to the next half inning and we'll talk more. If full disclosure, if those announcers get completely annoying or it turns into kind of a blowout and we want to have a party, Astros party, then we may start talking more over the game and just what the ramifications of the game are. But guys, join us tonight. Let's have some fun and let's go Astros. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.